Thank you and good morning. It's great to see everybody this morning. This is my first time in Mumbai. It's exciting to be here. I'm excited and humbled to be here and share Cisco's vision and strategy as it relates to artificial intelligence. We've been hard at work on this really for the last 4 years. And what you've probably seen over the last 9 months or so is this strategy begin to come together and unfold. And like the video shared, there's a lot changing around us at an unprecedented pace. I know I've been doing this for 30 years, so it's been a minute, and I've never seen anything like this before. And I think one of the big changes with this revolution is the fact that it hit the data center and businesses at the same time it actually hit our homes. I know my kids are using it, my wife is using it. She affectionately refers to it as Chad instead of Chat GPT. But I think what is upon us and what we're going to see in the future is going to be truly unprecedented and move quicker than ever before. And I think the person who captured this best was a Nobel Prize winner by the name of Ray Kurzweil. And Ray was recently actually quoted by people like Elon Musk, talking about this inflection point in the industry, very much like the Industrial Revolution, but in some ways different and faster. So what they frame up is the fact that if you look at a data center today, you could generally refer to as the measurement of a data center, or the atomic unit of the data center is a virtual machine. Generally speaking, it gives you a sense of size and scale and complexity. If you're telling me you have 100 virtual machines versus 1,000 versus 10,000, it gives me an idea of what is going on in that particular customer's data center. Well, with virtual machines over the last 25 years, as customers adopted that, whether they were part of the bell curve on the front side as an early adopter, or maybe at the end as a late adopter, or perhaps in the middle where most of the adoption took place, the fact is they realized value at the point in time they adopted the technology. The second point is when they adopted the technology. Said it another way is if they didn't adopt it up front, but they adopted it late, it just meant they realized the value late, and that was okay. Well, when we think about AI is on a different trajectory path, and that's causing all of us to rethink IT and rethink the modern data center. So this new inflection point is causing us to look at not a bell curve, but an S curve. And this S curve today, the new atomic unit, is often referred to as the large language model. So like the virtual machines, I could ask a question and say, how many large language models are you supporting today? Gives me and everyone in this room a sense of where you're at on your AI journey. But no sooner was the large language model defined, and then all of a sudden, yet another curve coming up. This time, agentic is the latest curve, and everyone's talking about agentic and the implications of what agentic AI means for their organization. And I'll say over the last couple of months, we're now starting to see physical AI. So there's a couple of key takeaways here. Number one, unlike the bell curve of yesteryear, if you adopted it early and you adopted it late, it was okay. You were just going to realize the benefits at that point in time. Well, with AI, if you're not moving and moving fast, you're simply going to be left behind. And if you're left behind too long, you won't be solvent. You won't be relevant as you move on. The second is it's moving really, really fast. You know, you look at the life cycle of 25 years of virtualization and how that has played out. Think about how fast it's moved from large language models to agentic to physical. We're talking a matter of months, and it's expected to accelerate even faster. So the point is, recognizing this as an inflection point in the industry, what are we going to do about it? Well, the first point is to understand where our customers are. And so as we developed this strategy I mentioned 4 years ago, we were very intentional of understanding where our customers are and where they were trying to get to, making sure we were meeting them at that point in time on their journey on whatever their AI ambitions might be or soon to be in the near future. And one of the ways we did this by meeting our customers where they're at is we did a series of surveys. And if you're not familiar with it, I would encourage you, if there's one takeaway from the next 25 minutes or so I'll be with you, Google Cisco AI Readiness Survey. Very, very good. What we did is we went out and we reached 8,800 unique customers. It was a double-blind survey. We asked them a series of questions about what AI meant to their organization, where they were at from an adoption standpoint, what use cases they were considering. So to give you a sense of where your peers are in the industry and what's top of mind for them, but more importantly, it helped shape our strategy. We didn't do this just once or twice. We've done this survey 3 separate times. And so what I'm sharing with you on the screen are some of the key takeaways that have come up consistently time and time again from our customers and what they've told us that is most top of mind for them as they think about artificial intelligence. So the first is there's simply too many tools, and there's literally no integration happening. What that means is it's more and more complex than ever expected before, and it's making their ability to achieve an outcome with artificial intelligence that much more difficult. Consider this. When you think about Hugging Face, open source platform, hosts a lot of the large language models out there I'm sure you're all familiar with. In the last 6 months, there have been 350,000 large language models created. So if you're thinking about a particular use case for a particular vertical, the question is, which large language model are you going to choose? And that's, by the way, just large language models. There's small language models and other language models in addition to those as well. And then the second point of that is there's no integration. So from the physical infrastructure up to the actual software layer and the tool chain itself, no one is building this as an end-to-end curated stack. For a customer, that means de-risking it, giving predictability of outcome and performance. And so that is very top of mind, which really leads to the second point, which is the uncertainty of ROI. 2 elements there. The first element is what I buy today, how relevant is this going to be in 12 months or 24 months? We've all seen the life cycle of CPUs over the last 20 or 30 years. GPU is a different animal. It moves much, much faster. We've seen NVIDIA bring to market innovation in a much faster life cycle. And so the question is, what I'm buying today, is it future-proof to the new technologies that will come tomorrow that undoubtedly I'm going to want to take advantage of? Secondarily, it's really about outcomes. And so if you subscribe to Gartner, Gartner will tell you that up to 70% of AI use cases fail to make it to production. If you talk to NVIDIA behind closed doors, they'll tell you it's upwards of 80% fail to make it to production. Customers know this. You're reading the same articles we're reading. The point is, there's some hesitancy of moving forward because you want to make the significant investment, but you want to make sure you get the ROI. So what can Cisco do to help you there? Well, the third is around security. Now more than ever, security is top of mind for every customer's ambitions as it relates to artificial intelligence. I'll share with you a quick story. A couple of months ago, I met with a large pharmaceutical company in EMEA. We were talking about their AI ambitions and helping them chart a plan over the next couple of years of how they were going to get there. And the conversation kept going back to security. And at one point, I simply paused and said, tell me more about your concerns with security. And they said, look, before AI, we were receiving 400 attacks on our enterprise a month. Since AI and agentic AI and bad actors' ability to leverage AI to attack our organization, we went from 400 attacks per month to 12,000 attacks a day. So, security is top of mind for 2 reasons. One, the bad actors using the technology to be able to actually use that to infiltrate my organization or your organization. But secondarily, going back to the first point, 350,000 new large language models open source. Do we really know what's in those large language models? Have we vetted them from a security perspective? Unintentionally, particularly with shadow AI, we could actually see some of those models come into our organization and actually cause a significant amount of damage or harm. So these are some of the top of mind thoughts that have been shared with us and candidly have really shaped our future in terms of what we're thinking about for artificial intelligence and meeting our customers where they're at on this journey. And fundamentally answering some of these questions which are top of mind for our customers. This helped us shape what we refer to as the North Star. So these are the 5 key tenets of delivering an AI-ready data center in a meaningful way. So point number 1, power for all workloads. The data center and the applications you're supporting didn't go away yesterday. You need to support them into the future, and ideally, you want to use the same physical infrastructure to support those use cases and workloads alongside and with your artificial intelligence workloads. At the end of the day, it's really just a workload. But you want to make sure that you have the high performance capabilities, the throughput, and some of the things that Arun pointed out earlier that you're going to need to be able to do that. And as you do that, that it's going to scale with growth. What you buy today is investment protected for tomorrow, for next year, and for the year beyond that. So someone who has visibility into what that looks like and the forethought to plan for the future. Also, unified management. Common theme. Going back to that very lightly or less than lightly integrated stack and approach, you want unified management. It needs to be simple. It needs to not only support AI, but it has to have AI embedded within the platform itself. It needs to be secure, and I think we established that pretty credibly. And then it needs to be resilient. Resilient really means end-to-end. So when you think about a use case, when we're delivering that, it's all points across the infrastructure and the software that's going to be reliably secure. With that said, this is going to take a new approach. When you think about the data center today, when you think about the worlds you're supporting today, I think most of us would agree the infrastructure we have today probably doesn't address that North Star, at least doesn't address all 5 pillars. So the question is, what can we do differently at Cisco to help our customers as they embark on this journey? Well, the first is very intentionally put unified architectures top of mind. So this is about making sure that whatever platform we provide you from an experience standpoint, it supports all of your workloads. AI workloads, traditional workloads, workloads we haven't even thought about yet that are going to evolve very, very fastly if you go back to that S-curve. We also have to think about the unified operations, simplifying the operations and the approach to operations in the way that we manage it, leveraging artificial intelligence both within and across all the platforms where it's working together harmoniously in one user experience. And then the third is really about the outcome. This is about unifying the solutions. There's a couple of ways we look at this. One is, how do we make the decisions easier from a building and an architecture standpoint? So it's a turnkey solution. You can buy it as a single SKU and you have the predictability of outcome as well as performance. But it also speaks to the ecosystem, because no one company can stand up in front of you and say they can deliver this solely on their own. So being very intentional and very thoughtful about where we're making investments as a company so we can bring this together for you as an end-to-end solution. So what we're going to do is we're going to unpack each one of these, and I'm going to give you some technology proof points that take this from a vision to actually reality. More importantly, you're going to see these as building blocks. So as you think about your own environment and you think about how you want to move forward, you can think about moving these in as individual building blocks, and then we'll kind of bring it together at the end of how you can actually move forward with this as an end-to-end solution. In the event you maybe have a greenfield opportunity that you want to do something specific with, we'll give you that opportunity to do so. Before I dive into the technology, though, I want to leave you with maybe this thought, maybe at a higher level thought. You have choices to make when you think about your technology solution providers. I would encourage you to think and look very closely at their R&D budget. Now more important than ever because of the revolution and the fast pace that we talked about earlier before. What I will share with you is Cisco's R&D budget was $8 billion this past year. It will increase this year. Compounded annual growth rate, it's up 15%. So that's tracking about $1 billion in growth year over year. To put that in relative terms, the other technology providers that you can choose to partner with in the data center, we are orders of magnitude larger. This next closest, we're 2.5 times the size. Some of the smaller ones, but recognizable names, were 8 times the size from an R&D standpoint. Perhaps more important than that is the fact that our R&D is growing double-digit growth year over year, has been for 4 years, and will continue to do so. Every competitor in this space of Cisco's is flat or declining. So when you think about true innovation, not step change innovation supporting the next GPU, but true innovation, don't get enamored with product slides. Look at where their R&D money is being spent. And that will tell you what the future is going to hold for the partnership and their relevance to you in the future. All right, so let's unpack unified architectures for a minute. This starts with what Arun called out earlier. It starts with the hardware, the foundation, and the technology. This is where Cisco has made a significant amount of investment. I'll share with you some of this detail in a bit, but simply put, this is where compute, network, silicon, and optics come together as the foundation for everything you're going to do when you think about the applications you're going to support, inclusive of AI, but even far beyond artificial intelligence. So we've made significant amount of investments here. It's not just about providing performance, by the way. What we're doing is we're really focusing on consistency, on visibility, and security. Jeetu Patel is now leading our product strategy team. He's very intentionally bringing together the different domains across Cisco into one unified user experience. And so you'll see this infusion of security within the network as an example of that, amongst other integrations that you'll see. So let's go ahead and unpack some of the details specifically with unifying the architectures. And we're going to kick things off and talk about network for a minute. So a few months back, we announced the Cisco Nexus 9300 or the N9300 smart switch. What makes this a smart switch is what we've done is we've taken a DPU, set it alongside our Silicon ASIC, Silicon One ASIC inside the fabric. What we give you is a highly adaptable, highly secure, highly programmable switch in the industry. And so what this means is you have security embedded within the fabric. Why is this important? Why is it important particularly right now? Because I know in most organizations, security sits over here and network sits over here. Worlds are going to come together very, very quickly. Consider this. According to IDC, in the next 3 years, 750 million new applications will be created. Gartner backed up the statistic and said 38% of those applications will be created with agentic AI. The days of physical firewalls, mapping to specific ports, mapping to specific applications, are quickly going to go away. We need a new typology. We need a new approach. This addresses that approach head on. It's going to give you security in the fabric, and it's going to allow you to move that security policy wherever that application resides. The edge, the colo, the data center, the cloud. We're going to see more application mobility than ever before, according to all the analysts that are out there today. And so having a solution that helps you address both your network traffic at a high performance, but also at a security standpoint, is going to become more and more mission critical. So that's a little bit about some of the innovation from the network standpoint. Let's switch over and talk about compute for a few minutes. Many of you are probably familiar with our compute lineup, I would hope. This is what it's looked like over the course of time. Our flagship platform we came out with back in 2009, we provided 15 years of investment protection. It was UCS, we refer to it as the B-Series chassis. Simply put, we broke nearly every industry benchmark, over 70 of them, with this platform. But more importantly, we gave investment protection to our customers over a 15-year lifespan. But all things must change with artificial intelligence, which means so too our portfolio has changed. Changed in two ways. One, innovation in the sense that we brought a new platform out called the X-Series platform. So from a modularity standpoint, you get some of the same inherent value and characteristics for modularity and shared services and sustainability, but we've expanded beyond that platform to include a number of new form factors, not just Intel, but also AMD, and basically addressing all of the major form factors that you would need in a data center to support any current, modern, or upcoming workload or application. So all of this is going to be managed through Cisco Intersight, and give you that one common management experience regardless of where any of this physical infrastructure is actually deployed. One of the questions we often get is, what about training? What about modular? What about inferencing? So I'm just going to take a minute and highlight two platforms that are out there today. One, this is our C885. This is an 8 GPU platform. This supports a lot of training. I know we have a number of customers in the room who've invested in this platform. Thank you for your investment and partnership. This is arguably the benchmark in the industry as it relates to anything training related that is a GPU, high density server, high throughput, high performance server. In addition to that, we came out with a modular platform as well. That modular platform provides you the flexibility to start at 2 GPUs, 4 GPUs, grow into 8 GPUs, and has all the modern characteristics that you would expect to see in a similar platform. So across compute, across network, you've seen unprecedented amounts of innovation from a software standpoint as well as from a physical infrastructure standpoint. Let's talk about how we're bringing together unified operations. Because having infrastructure in and of itself is not enough. It's how are we simplifying day 2 operations for our customers. And we do this in a couple of different ways. One is we do it from AI within the platform, and then one is how do we manage AI in itself. So let me give you a couple of proof points of what this looks like. This has been a hot topic. We've been talking to customers in our customer advisory boards for some time, asking them what the future of management needs to look like. And consistently the last 2 or 3 years, they've been telling us the same thing. Number one, there are domain expertise. Don't try to smash everything together because you're going to lose the fidelity of how I manage a network versus how I manage compute. But make them look and feel like the same experience. Don't have one look one way and one look another way. So very intentionally and very thoughtfully, this is what we've been focusing on over the last 12 months or so. So you may have seen or heard at Cisco Live US a couple of months ago, we announced the unified intelligence with Cisco Intersight. This is an evolution, really a revolution, of what we're doing with the Intersight platform, where we're bringing more intelligence, more automation, more AI built into the platform and the platform experience than ever before. So what does this mean? It means it's going to unlock visibility to things like trends and trend analysis. It's going to allow you to optimize performance. It's going to give you a different typology view that's going to allow you to see the entire environment and where the applications reside. You're going to see more event correlation characteristics built into the platform. So instead of getting 15 different alerts and not knowing which one to prioritize, they will be grouped together, aligned to a specific workload, and then tell you the cause and effect relationship so that you can troubleshoot more seamlessly and much, much more quickly. Some of the other things we're doing with this, we're integrating this with Splunk. So if you decide to take the data and ingest that telemetry into Splunk as your data platform, you'll be able to gain even more insights between the two platforms, which are more and more being built to run together side by side. So a lot of enhancements with Intersight. If you haven't seen this, I would encourage you to spend some time understanding what it means. But the other side of this is Nexus. There's our Nexus switching line and with Nexus dashboard. How many people are familiar with Nexus dashboard in the room, just so I get a general sense? Couple. Okay. So Nexus dashboard is our flagship software platform in the data center. It is number one in terms of number of licenses, amount of revenue, number of customers. It is truly kind of the benchmark for how you manage and deploy networks. If you haven't seen it, I'd encourage you to go take a look at it. This allows you to manage, if you have a Nexus fabric, regardless of the operating model, regardless of the protocols, this is the manager of managers that give you that capability. Where we've made enhancements is around the typology mapping, so it has a similar look and feel. We've also done sustainability, both in this platform and with Intersight. so you have a similar look and feel experience when you think about sustainability and getting the highest performance, but I'll say managed the energy exposure at the same time. So a lot of consistencies between the two platforms. The one I want to share with you is something that we call AI job observability. So this is a new enhancement. We just announced this a couple of months ago. Essentially what this is going to give you end-to-end visibility for all of your AI workloads across the network, across compute, and across storage. It's going to allow you to see that particular AI workload end-to-end with visibility that arguably you don't get elsewhere in the industry. You know, one of the challenges with managing these AI environments is, number one, just performance. So what kind of utilization do I have in my GPUs? What kind of utilization do I have in my network? Do I need 4 more GPUs? Do I need 8 more GPUs? What am I even using today? Is it 20% or is it 80%? This platform is going to answer all of those questions for you. So it's about investment protection. It's about buying and right-sizing the investment you need today, but understanding what you're likely going to need tomorrow. So you're going to have all of this capability built in along with real-time metrics. If anybody's built a training cluster, you understand how important coherency is and understanding what's going on in real time. This gives you that level of visibility and allows you to do some of that predictive management upfront as opposed to reacting to it based upon what's going on in your environment. So that's a little bit about what's going on from an infrastructure standpoint. But as I said, this is about the outcome. So let's talk for a minute about where we're headed with this. We have spent a significant amount of money, well over $1 billion, investing in third-party partnerships. Recognizing the importance to bring this to market is going to rely upon both existing partnerships with companies like Pure Storage, but also with new partnerships with companies like Vast Storage, companies like OpenAI. You've probably seen a lot of press around what we're doing with OpenAI. We just won a project with OpenAI alongside Oracle called Stargate for $500 billion. We also just won a humane project in Saudi Arabia, multi-$100 billion opportunity. We did that one with Google, OpenAI, and Cisco. Point is, we are making significant investments to bring these solutions to the market and make it much easier for you to get that predictability in the way of an outcome. The one I want to spend a minute on is actually with NVIDIA. No surprise, huge player in this space, defined this space, and what we did is we have partnered up with them, building on a 20-year relationship to bring forward some real thought and innovation around an AI factory. I suspect many of you are familiar with the term. It's kind of become an industry term now, this idea of how do I build an AI factory where I can pump out these use cases and these outcomes with artificial intelligence. Well, for many of the reasons that I outlined earlier around security, the one missing element to an AI factory has been security. If you think about all the different players in this space that play across the domains we play, security, or I should say networking and compute, right? Not many of them, if any of them, really have security at the size and breadth that Cisco does. So exciting for us to drive differentiation, exciting for NVIDIA because this is the number one reason Jensen will tell you that enterprises are stalling with adoption is because of their concern with artificial intelligence and AI, with security concerns specifically. So we address this head on. So we're going to spend more time on this, I believe, in a later session. So I'm going to move on quickly for the sake of time. Lot of energy behind this. This is not just, I'll say, marketing, but more specifically, this is CEO to CEO relationship. Very close relationships, not just from our executive level, but all the way through our engineering teams. Case in point, from an engineering standpoint, one of the things we brought out a few months back is something called hyperfabric. Anyone familiar with hyperfabric? Okay. Cisco hyperfabric is a new approach to networking. For companies that simply don't want to do the care and feeding of day two operations as it relates to your network, Cisco does this for you. This is cloud deliver, fabric as a service from the cloud with intelligence, automation, and AI built in. We did this in partnership with NVIDIA. So for a customer who wants to deliver a switch, and I'll say simplify operations, Hyperfabric is the answer to deliver that outcome. We took that one step further a couple of months ago. We have Hyperfabric for AI. Now this is where we've expanded our partnership with VAST, we've added compute, and we've added this network switch to provide this outcome end-to-end for our customers. So what you're seeing is not just innovation, but true innovation in a sense that no one else in the world is actually driving this level of integration, from security or from a platform. The thing about Hyperfabric AI is it is a true turnkey solution end-to-end, allowing our customers to actually focus on the use case and not on the infrastructure. I'm going to pick up pace a little bit because I know we're running out of time. We talked about meeting our customers where they're at. If you have investments in Cisco today, particularly on the compute side, we've created something called an AI pod. So this is simply a blade with GPUs that have been built into it, but more importantly, we've done a considerable amount of testing with that. So we can give you some insights as to what type of use cases and the sizing if you want to start relatively small with an AI pod. We announced this about a year ago. We've been shipping this in market for quite some time. It's a great starting position for our customers as they think about that first step forward with artificial intelligence, but leveraging a lot of their current investments in the data center. That being said, we've expanded this significantly every single month over the course of the last year. And so what we've done is we built AI pod-based infrastructures out, everything from inferencing to training, but more importantly, we've provided blueprints and design guides for each one of these. Remember I talked about the impossible number of combinations and permutations of how you would actually build this? We've blueprinted all of this for our customers. We've done the performance testing in our labs. So when you go from a large language model of 4.1 to 4.2, did you know it's a 27% performance hit on your network? We can tell you how to tune your network to get the most performance out of that. When you compare our approach to AI pods, blueprints, and validated designs, which we've had for well over 2 decades now, I've looked at all of these competitively side by side, and no one takes that extra 2 steps to provide this level of assurance the way that Cisco's doing it. So I would encourage you to do that comparison side by side, and I think you'll see many of the differences. I'm going to wrap up with a couple of forward-looking thoughts. And I'm here with a colleague of mine, DJ Sampath, who's going to be reviewing the security portfolio in a bit more depth. He'll unpack Secure AI Factory. He'll unpack some of these newer technologies that are continuations of the investment. What I will tell you is we're putting security everywhere. Hypershield was that example that I talked about, the N9300. It's the software that sits on top and delivers that security across all the fabric. And so that is security everywhere AI is running. What DJ is going to share with all of you is Cisco AI Defense. And this is more about what AI is doing and how people in your organization are using AI. How do we make sure we can protect and secure it in a responsible way? He's also going to spend a few minutes talking about how we are revolutioning IT with agentic operations. Think about using agentic AI, but think about using it across all the different domains across your enterprise and having one dashboard that has built-in automation, built-in intelligence, built-in dashboard. It can pull up and build dashboards real time and use natural language to do it. We call it AI Canvas. We showcased it a couple of months ago. DJ is going to spend a bit more time. I just wanted to give you a sense of kind of beyond the infrastructure, what we were doing more broadly as we think about some of the technology improvements and how fast AI is moving. That being said, I'd like to thank you for your time. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for being with us today.